budget. In other words, requests that these specific appropriations not be spent because of the fact that they either are not needed or are outright wasteful spending of the taxpayers' dollars. So we have another $16.8 million for the Coast Guard station in Cleveland Harbor, Ohio, to demolish the existing facility and construct a new multi-purpose building. I want to emphasize to my colleagues that these may be worthy projects. They may be. Generally, they aren't, but they may be. But there's been no hearing. There's no request on the part of the administration. There's no request from anybody except for the representative of that state. $4 million for the National Infrastructure Simulation and Analysis Center. $102 million for the National Domestic Preparedness Consortium, and that contains 6 earmarks. The National Energetic Materials Research and Testing Center in New Mexico, $23 million. National Center for Biomedical Research and Training at Louisiana State University, $23 million. National Emergency Response and Rescue Training Center at Texas A&M University, $23 million. National Exercise Test and Training Center in Nevada, $23 million. Transportation Technology Center in Pueblo, Colorado, $5 million. And of course, we never want to forget the Natural Disaster Preparedness Training Center at the University of Hawaii, $5 million. $3 million for the Distributed Environment for Critical Infrastructure Decision-Making exercise. So we need money, $3 million for the infrastructure decision-making exercises, and money is set aside for the Cybersecurity Consortium, a group of schools including Miami University of Ohio, Utah State University, University of Nevada at Reno, and Potomac Institute for Policy Studies. A certain thread may become apparent throughout this conversation here, and that is the states which are generally getting most of this money happen to be the representatives in the United States Senate on the Appropriations Committee. $2 million for the Cincinnati Urban Area Partnership, $20.8 million for the Southeast Region Research Initiative, $300,000 for the City of Hackensack Emergency Operations Centers. Emergency Operations Centers are very popular in this bill. Now, there was no competition for these emergency operations centers. They may be worthwhile, they may not. We will never know because they're earmarked by the members, and they range from $1 million to $20 million to $247,000. We got New Jersey, Washington State, Providence, Rhode Island, North Louisiana, Little Rock, Vermont, Columbus, Ohio, City of Ames, City of Mount Vernon, $900,000 for the City of Whitefish Emergency Operations Center in Montana, and $1 million. Of course, we wouldn't want to leave out the City of Chicago Emergency Operations Center. None of these projects were requested by the administration or authorized or competitively bid in any way. No hearing was held to judge whether or not these were national priorities worthy of the scarce taxpayers' dollars. They're in this bill for one reason and one reason only, because of the selective prerogatives of few members of the Senate. Sadly, these members choose to serve their own interests over those of the American taxpayers. I have filed and intend to offer amendments to strike each and every one of these amendments, of these earmarks. Enough is enough. The American people are tired of this process, and they're tired of watching their hard-earned money go down the drain, and I intend to fight every single unnecessary, unrequested, unauthorized earmark in every appropriations bill. Now, in addition to the earmarks I just covered, this bill includes millions of dollars for programs that the administration has sought to cut due to the program's ineffectiveness or lack of necessity. Now, the amendment that I just proposed has, as an example, the over-the-road bus security program. the administration proposed in its 2010 budget to eliminate the over-the-road bus security program, since the awards are not based on risk, as recommended by the 9/11 Commission, and has not been assessed as effective. Specifically, the Office of Management and Budget stated, quote, "Recently, the funding for this program has gone to private sector entities for business investments in GPS-type tracking systems that they could be making without federal funding. For now, this program should be eliminated in favor of funding initiatives aimed at mitigating verified transit threats." Now, Mr. President, again, in the Office of Management and Budget submission, the administration says, "The Government Accountability Office has recommended that TSA conduct an in-depth risk analysis of the commercial vehicle sector per its recent report. For now, this program should be eliminated in favor of funding initiatives aimed at mitigating verified transit threats. Funding for the intercity bus industry should be included in the larger public rail transit security grant program and prioritized against all transit-related security investments." But it's not. But it's not. Now, here we on the one hand have the President announce with great fanfare a group of reductions and terminations and savings that the administration is going to make and is strongly urging to be done. And here we have on the bill an earmark that indeed funds this very same programs that the administration wants eliminated. There's another one, and that is the U.S. Coast Guard Loran-C. Loran-C sounds like a pretty good program, but the fact is that this $35 million, by the way, is a federally funded radio navigation system for civil marine use in coastal areas. And I quote from the Office of Management and Budget, the nation no longer needs this system because the federally supported civilian global positioning system, GPS, has replaced it with superior capabilities. As a result, Loran-C, including recent limited technological enhancements, serves only the remaining small group of longtime users. It no longer serves any governmental function and is not capable as a backdrop for GPS. So we're going to spend $35 million on GPS that is useless. It's useless for Loran-C. Why? Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to spend that kind of money? It's amazing. It's amazing. And then there's the emergency operations centers, of course, that is some $20 million that for the operations centers in Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, New Jersey, etc. And these, of course, are obviously the result of earmarks. Now, again, the Office of Management and Budget says the administration is proposing to eliminate the Emergency Operations Center grant program in the 2010 budget because the program's award allocations are not based on risk assessment. Oh, really? Also, other Department of Homeland Security grant programs can provide funding for the same purpose more effectively. It goes on to talk about how the grant program was established by supporting flexible, sustainable, secure, and interoperable EOCs, etc. The EOC grant program uses award criteria that are not risk-based, and the administration supports a risk-based approach to Homeland Security grant awards. I wonder how many of these would be awarded if they were risk-based, and how many of them are awarded because of the influence of members of the Appropriations Committee. The EOC, in addition, in 2009, EOC construction and renovation was approved as an allowable expense under the Emergency Management Performance Grant Program, thus providing a more effective funding mechanism through which potential grantees prioritize expenditures on EOCs against other emergency management initiatives. In other words, we're spending these millions of dollars, $20 million, I guess it is, in an unnecessary fashion that has nothing to do with risk, but has everything to do with influence. So it's business as usual. It's business as usual here in our nation's capital. We just came off a recess, and a lot of us spent time, as I did, traveling around our states. People in my state are hurting. People in my state are wondering whether they're going to be able to keep their job or get a job, whether they're able to afford health care, whether they're able to educate their children. And they're having to tighten their belts in ways that perhaps certainly no one ever has had to do before in our lifetime. So what do we do? What do we do here? Business as usual. 97 million, some millions of dollars of unnecessary and unwanted pork. Last year, Congress appropriated many millions of dollars. This one, again, is $97 million more than the budget request, and much of that is obviously unnecessary and unneeded, and in some cases even unwanted. So, on behalf of the citizens of my state who are having to tighten their belts, who are undergoing unprecedented difficulties and hard times, while we are on this spending spree and accumulating trillions of dollars of debt that we are committing generational theft and laying on our children and grandchildren, I intend to fight for their tax dollars. And I intend to fight until this egregious practice of pork barrel earmark spending, which has bred corruption, is brought to a halt. And Mr. President, I ask for the yeas and nays on this amendment.
Is there a sufficient second?
Mr. President, I yield. Before I yield, I would ask